Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Cosplayers Paradigm podcast. Do not be afraid. We do have him here on purpose. He is not infiltrating our area, and he is not trying to take over the world as of yet. With us today, we have Dr. Mortose, Super Genius, and we have the Mid-Michigan Deadpool. You may have seen him around. You definitely know who he is. He is a merc with a mouth, but he knows when to hold back a little bit. Say hi, everyone.
Greetings.
What's going on? How you doing?
So right now, we've actually had both of you guys at the Comic-Con multiple different times where I've seen you. I know Mid-Michigan Deadpool personally, and now, Dr. Mortose, I've met you as well as talked to you a few times. What was it like when you first got into doing your show?
Well, it was sort of strange experience. I was experimenting with zombies at the time, and to back up, years ago, I made friends with Elvira.
Okay.
And she was the one who told me you should be a horror host, and I said, okay, if it'll help me take over the world, which it is. So I have now been producing the show for approximately 13 years. It'll be
Okay.
14 this year. We did have a zombie invasion on our first episode, which we showed the film Night of the Living Dead, so that was appropriate. We arranged in the community. We put a call out for any zombies that were in the area, and we got quite a few that showed up and participated.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yes. Well, you never know. There's zombies in all the communities. So
That is true.
Sometimes I help make them.
Well, most of them are, slave to that device in their hand.
Yes, they are. I see that at work. I see that around all over the place. Hold on a second. No, I'm just kidding. I am not a slave to one. That I know of.
Not yet.
Yes, not yet. The brain is still not to mush. It's still got a little bit of synapses running through it.
That's good. Do you still read books?
Unfortunately, I cannot right now. Honestly, I get a headache when I read, and it's not because of the words itself, it's the paper. I don't know why, but the color seems to aggravate my head.
Have you tried larger print?
I have. Larger print I can do, but I can't find anything appealing in larger print as of yet. But I'm still trying.
Well, I do need to encourage everyone to read more books. I can't have any illiterate minions. As long as you're not completely zombified, it's important to keep your mind active and functioning well. So I would encourage you to or at least audiobooks, anything to keep your brain engaged. Yes, I'm a person who shows cheesy old movies that encourages you to read more books. Yes,
I'm
aware of
completely
that.
understand. In fact, I endorse that, definitely. Go to find your local library. Sorry, go ahead.
So no Flappy Bird then?
Probably not Flappy Bird, no.
No.
Not really intellectually stimulating Flappy Bird.
Nope. Stimulating enough for just one finger, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Yep, that's all you need.
Well, yeah, I suppose if you want to hitchhike, there's a thumb. You need to go ahead and text, there's a thumb. And if you want to go ahead and give someone a like on Facebook, Instagram, or anywhere else, it's a thumb.
Unless you're in Egypt. And if you're in Egypt, this is a really bad thing to do.
Yes.
So don't try and hitchhike. Don't try to hitchhike like this in Egypt. You'll create several enemies.
If not more.
Yes.
But no, I wholeheartedly agree. Reading is definitely important. Find your local library. Check out some of the books. Go to school. Go to a consignment shop anywhere. Bookstores. Online.
And read books you want to read. A lot of people don't read because they saw it as a chore from their days in school. Like they had to read books. Well,
Yeah.
you don't have to read a book, but if you want to read a book, read that book.
And there's no level of the books that you need to read. You don't need to go in and read War and Peace because people told you that's the book to read.
Yeah.
Go in, read a graphic novel, read
absolutely.
manga,
Absolutely.
read
Go to a comic book shop.
Yes,
and pick out a comic book. There are lots of really good comic books out there.
there is
Deadpool.
amazing artists. Yeah, definitely. I mean, come on, Deadpool right there. He definitely can endorse that.
Yep.
I love comic
that
books.
fourth wall all the time.
Have you guys read the instruction manual? I mean,
Okay,
learn
yes.
how to-
Which one?
instruction manual.
The most important one.
Yes. Well,
The book
I've
was
written
recently
those.
deceased.
So,
sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna go to Mid-Mitten here.
Yep. Go ahead, Mid.
About how I got started?
Yeah, what actually got you into the cosplay era itself?
Well, that was about 12, 13 years ago. I went to JFAX, if you guys know what that convention is.
I do indeed.
Went there as spandex Deadpool, so not face shell, not any of that, just the normal cheapy suit. And that started my entire adventure of I got all the high fives and interactions and little kids just saying, that's cool, and get excited. And I mean, and then after that, I got involved in doing charity cosplay groups, and
Excellent.
that was a lot of fun and very rewarding.
Well, definitely. In fact, I'm trying to host, well, I shouldn't say host, but I'm helping something with my work later on in this year as well. So I'm reaching out, trying to get a few people interested. I recently did find a few people who are willing. I just have to coordinate it and get that situated. I mean, it's all for the kids.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had an association for several years with the 501st and the Rebel Legion, and those people are notorious for doing charity work. They're great group of guys and girls.
That they are. But they are hard to get a hold of sometimes, depending on what your event is for or what time of year it is.
Yes.
And sadly, the time of year for me, it's in December.
In December. So you're looking for specifically cosplayers or others as well?
Right now, I'm looking to bring cosplayers or anyone along the line for the children who are able to bring some joy, help out, volunteer. And if anyone is in the service, military, police,
Excellent.
if you're a first responder or anything along the lines, you're able to go ahead and help out as well. That would be wonderful, because the whole event essentially is a hero goes around with a kid and they shop together.
I love it.
And I'm not saying
Excellent.
what job is or anything. I will not promote that in private messages. I will, but not on here.
Oh no, that's fine. That sounds wonderful. Really young children enjoy my presence. Older ones tend to be a little more afraid. But
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
It's the mask.
Well, it's really strange. I discovered this years ago. Like, I'll see somebody with a baby, and that baby will just look at me and reach out towards me like, I have to be with you, and I will take this baby, and they're not afraid of me at all. They get to be about 5 or 6 years old, and they look at me like, don't eat me. It's interesting. It's interesting. The older kids, there's not a problem, obviously, but yeah, babies love Dr. Mortose.
Seems to be between that like 2-year-old and like 4-year-old range where they kind of
well
shy away.
And I think they like the green, maybe.
I'd have to agree. I mean, take a look right there, green.
Yeah.
Green.
Great.
Yep, I have to agree with that. Definitely. It's a nice color.
It works. The other horror hosts have teased me a little bit. They say, they're all dressed in blacks and reds, and they're like, when Dr. Mortose is around, it's like Christmas. Because, green, red, yeah.
Well, think about it this way. When everyone else is around, they're hiding in the shadows dressed in black. But when you show around, you are right there where everyone can see in plain sight. There's no hiding.
And I'm radioactive.
Exactly.
That's right. Radioactive. I'm a glowing source of light.
And a glowing personality as well.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Now,
So,
you've done the Comic-Con how many years now?
all of them, actually. Back when they started at the Deltaplex many years ago. Actually, even before that, when they were first starting to put it together, and they had all these strange little venues that they would put this micro-con together, and that was Grand Rapids Comic-Con. They had it in the back banquet room of a church one year. And then they finally got into the Deltaplex. They had enough interest to go in there. And I showed up and I was doing interview bits with different people in costumes and guests and stuff like that. And then the owner of Grand Rapids Comic Con, he asked me to, obviously show up every year, and I have. Last year, 2023 was the only year I haven't been a guest there.
Really?
Yeah, it was a mess up with all of the scheduling and everything that was going on. We lost the second venue for Deltaplex is gone now, so the spring fling is now in Kalamazoo, and guests that were supposed to be at it before couldn't make it, and everything just got garbled up. But yeah, I've been doing it forever, and I thoroughly enjoy it. It's Grand Rapids Comic Con is a wonderful con. It grows every year. It's one of the best cons in the Midwest. Somebody who's listening to this or watching this, if you haven't been, you need to come. It's just a great time. It has that rare feeling of being a hometown fan-based convention with all the bells and whistles of a bigger convention.
Exactly. Small town con with a big con feel.
Yeah, exactly. Much like the city of Grand Rapids that it takes place in. Yeah.
Yes.
So Deadpool, you've been at the conventions now for 5 years? Am I guessing right?
I've been attending Grand Rapids Comic Con specifically since they were homeschool building.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So my first when at the homeschool building, I had a shoulder surgery and was walking around the Santa pool, handing out presents as Deadpool with a Santa hat.
You know what? I actually remember that. I remember that.
I had shoulder surgery prior to that convention.
Yep.
Yeah, he had been trying to get me to go for years, and it wasn't until 2017 that I finally went.
Well, we're glad you came.
Unfortunately, that year, small bit of tragedy took place, and I didn't get to meet the person I wanted to go and meet. But I was able to meet other people who were also in the same franchise. So, right here, you'll notice
your wall of fame there.
Oh, actually, my wall of fame is in another direction, but this one here, because this is the one that started all. This is what got me to finally say, yes, I'm going to the Comic-Con. Haruo Nakajima, the actual suit actor from the original 1954 Godzilla, was going to be there.
Wonderful human being.
Sadly, I missed out on him.
Yeah, and his daughter came in proxy, and she was very kind, very nice meeting her. I speak a little Japanese, not as fluently as I used to, so it's kind of nice to practice that again, briefly. But yes, that's
amazing.
I do have plans. I have good friends in Japan, and I'm planning on at one point, if I can arrange it, taking my show to Japan, and I'm going to stay at the Godzilla Hotel and travel around Tokyo and see if I can interview people at Toho. That is a dream for the future of the show. That may happen. I will let you know if it's going to happen anytime in the future.
That would be amazing. In fact, If you need a roadie or someone else to go along with, I would actually volunteer to that because it's what I want to do.
I'll
least
take a
once in my
whole
life.
crew. It'd be great.
Oh, but yes,
I'm a
at least
professional
one.
driver by trade, so I can, drive you around.
Yeah,
Right.
that he can.
Excellent.
But yeah, that is one dream. In fact, if I ever make it there, aside from staying in the hotel, checking out the sites, everything, I am scared of heights, but I will get onto that zip line and I will zip line through Godzilla's mouth. I'll do it.
Yes. And also, the plan is to go see the life-size Gundam, the giant moving robot Gundam. Yeah. I need to hack into that and use it to further my aim of taking over the world.
You heard it here first. If anything happens, the robot uprising, we know who did it. Just remember.
Only the good things are true. And besides, how do you know the world wouldn't be better off with me as its ruler?
We don't know. No one can know.
I couldn't be worse than the current.
We'll leave it at that.
Nobody's given me any money to take him out, so that's got to be a good thing, right?
Right.
Yes.
And I'm going to pay you to take out my competition. So there you go.
Well,
we're all set. We're all set.
He is for hire.
That's right. There you go.
Yep.
I'll tell you what. Part of your payment, I'll give you the island of Taiwan. You can just own it.
Well, there you go.
Do what you want with it.
Do I get at least a lifetime supply of egg rolls?
What's that?
Lifetime supply of egg rolls and chimichangas. That's all I have.
There you go. There you go.
Good choice. Definitely a good choice.
Yes.
Now, earlier we were talking about charities. Are there actually any charities that you've been part of, Dr. Mortose?
Yes. Actually, I help raise money for the West Michigan Literary Society.
Okay.
So a couple of times at Grand Rapids Comic Con, I'll have a setup where you can donate. And actually, I bring some from my own collection, some books that I sell or give away to people to encourage them to read more. I've worked with a couple other charities over the years, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital.
Yep.
That is a personally family have used their services in the past, so I'm all for supporting them. Make-A-Wish Foundation, I've worked with them.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah, good organizations. Any one of them, donate. Whichever one strikes your fancy, just do it. Do it. I can't say enough good things about them. But yes, yeah, I'm happy to support those causes.
And we're definitely happy to have you do that. That's absolutely amazing.
They're good ones to be a part of.
Yes. And this is what I've known right here recently, that a lot of cosplayers, they either go to the show just to go ahead and have fun. Others do it as a hobby. Some do it professionally, but then others, like yourself as well, use it for charity to help raise awareness or help bring happiness to others. And it's a whole thing, which is amazing. There's no one right or wrong answer. It's a collective amount of everyone and creativity and love.
Yes, and that's what it's about. It's sharing that experience with others, and if you can at the same time help people out while you're having a good time, by all means. The first cosplayers I ever met at conventions were all doing it, first because they loved it, and second, like, oh, you mean people will donate to charities if we do this? They're all showing up at hospitals and, church group things and kids at risk programs. There's nothing like having a superhero walk up to you and pat you on the back and tell you you're a good person. There's nothing like that. So yeah, all the what are now considered the legendary cosplayers, the ones that you've always heard about and seen all the pictures of, all of those people, they're happy to. What do you need? What do you need? We'll be there.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
And Deadpool, you've done a little bit of that yourself as well, from what I remember.
Yep, I was a member of Cosplay Crusaders, West Michigan group. They did do charity work, did some Salvation Army benefits and things, a couple of other hospital visits and places like that. We did, then I transferred from there and went over to League of Enchantment and helped them out with a lot of charity groups and stuff like that. So it was nice being involved in those types of groups because it was able to, again, like Dr. Mortose said, you sit there and you have a superhero come up and pat you on the back. These little kids would just light up and be ecstatic, especially the kids in the hospital. They're not there having a good time. So when you show up and you can bring a smile to their face, it makes you feel good. But it's more importantly, it makes that kid sit there and forget everything that's going on with them right there. So it helps them. It helps them sometimes even get better. But there are the sad times too, where you're not there for a good reason, but it's there to help that kid. So
yep.
It's comes with the good, but with the bad. But you just got to remember the entire purpose of it is to make those kids just have a better outlook, I guess.
Even if it's just for that little time that you're there.
Exactly.
It can be a minuscule amount of time, but they're going to remember that.
Exactly.
They're going to remember the good part. Yeah.
Which a lot of times, even when you're at the con, it can be like that too. Kid turns around the corner, maybe your favorite person in the entire comic book or TV happens to be Deadpool or Superman, and someone cosplays as them, and you're just enthralled, and that makes your day.
I'm going to date myself here. Years ago, there was a wonderful store called Toys R Us. For anyone growing up post Toys R Us, I feel bad for you. You don't know the joy that was. But I remember I went to a grand opening, and I was probably a young teenager, just still a kid, but, a toy store. This is cool. I'm going to go see. They had a grand opening where they had this event where all these costumed characters came in and did a meet and greet, and they had all of the customers line up against the wall, and all of these costumed characters would come by and say hi to them and shake their hands and sign autographs. So there was Spider-Man, there was Captain America, there was the Hulk, which is this big, ridiculous foam costume, Jeffrey the Giraffe, and then like Strawberry Shortcake and a G.I. Joe character. They all walking through and saying hi. I was 13, 14 years old, and I still just got a thrill out of seeing that guy be Spider-Man, because he was Spider-Man. He wasn't just some guy in a costume. He was into it. He was playing the part. And you got to love that. As old as I was, and I was enjoying it, those little kids, the kids younger than me, they're having the time of their lives. That was real to them. That was really Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Yeah, I actually remember that at the, what was it, East Beltline out in Grand Rapids area.
Yes. Yep. Definitely dating myself.
You're not the only one.
I worked at Toys R Us, so that tells you something.
Yeah, it was amazing. It really is. There are a lot of things that I grew up with that have gone away, and you try and talk about them with people, and they just look at you like you're crazy. We grew up in a time. We grew up in a time when your telephone was hanging on your wall that had this big cord attached to it, and if you weren't home to answer it, maybe you had an answering machine, and you could play that back later.
If you were lucky.
Yeah, we're cyborgs now. We're cyborgs. We carry it with us. It's in our heads all the time. I know people who their phone rings, they have to answer it. I'm like, why? Well, if you don't want to talk to them, don't pick it up.
Mm-hmm. And let alone, why look at it if you're not even intending to pick it up to begin with?
Exactly. So, but it's a different era, different technology. When I take over the world, it's all going to be different again. So,
Now, are we looking at a possibility of a giant magnetic pulse that puts us back in the Stone Age, or something more scientific?
I don't want to put us back in the Stone Age. That's just one big club after another. No, there'll still be technology. It's just going to be utilized in a different fashion. I'll phrase it like that. That's safe. It'll be utilized in a different fashion than it is currently. Um, yes. See, I started out fairly benign, just like, hey, everybody, I've got this great idea. This would make the world a better place. And I either got ignored or somebody tried to take credit for my experiments or whatever. So I just decided, if they're not just going to do it willingly, I'll just mind control all of you, and then you'll just do it my way anyway.
Yeah. That works.
Yeah. Eventually, you'll all be my minions, and the world will be a better place.
Or some of us might just sign up for the program and not be completely minions, but
no, I mean, you can still be minions and not be mind controlled. I have a lot of willing participants in my organization, so
we have a good vision plan and a good 401k.
I do actually. Ms. Tantrum, if you've seen my show, which still airs on GRTV and some other outlets, and it's horrorhost.net. There's my plug. If you've seen my show, you do know that I have additional minions that operate with me. Occasionally, you might see Ms. Tantrum, who's the head of my HR department. Her job is to make sure all the minions are kept in line and up to date on their, benefits and things like that. There are some jobs in my organization that are higher risk than others. I have a lot of red-shirted minions that are, well, honestly, they're expendable. But still, they work out great. If they survive, they do fine. So yes, and then there's Mr. Smog, my head of security, which I'm sure you've both seen at Grand Rapids Comic-Con. He's been there, and
Yep.
my minion Bob and his love interest, his Mop. He is my minion that does all the cleanup. And then there are the Ralph clones, where I found this man named Ralph who is perfect for so many different experiments, but I didn't want to risk just like killing the one guy, so I just cloned him a whole bunch of times, and now I just use him in a lot of experiments.
Smart.
It's been working out pretty good, Yeah. So excellent use of resources.
Since I'm over in Taiwan in remote location, so am I going to get access to some of these Ralphs?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. They're there to do the heavy lifting or whatever you need.
I don't want to move the bed like 4 feet over if I don't feel like
that. Yeah. Dr. Darling, who is one of my fellow scientists, he puts together all the weapons I design. So he'll occasionally have Ralph clones that he uses for target prep. I mean, weapons testing. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you have to have assistance somehow, right?
Yeah, exactly. You don't always know if that death ray or the Wilhelm ray is going to work properly, so you got to test it. Got to have these people around. The Wilhelm ray, by the way, is, if you're familiar with the Wilhelm scream, we've discovered as a side effect of this device when it's used, anyone that is struck with the Wilhelm ray does that scream. It's amazing. It's remarkable. I don't know how that happened, but nice.
No copyright on that.
No. It's public domain.
That it is. I'm interested in
all the things that are on my show. So, yes. Yeah, it's a good time. Public domain movies. I'm gonna rant a little bit here, and again, this might make me sound like an old man. I don't mean it to, but your streaming services that you have subscribed to are dangerous things. I want to tell you why. Now, a few years ago, you could walk into a store and purchase a Blu-ray disc or a DVD of an obscure movie. A lot of public domain movies, anybody who had the gumption could format them and sell them and make a nice little tidy sum for themselves, putting out there classic movies like Carnival of Souls, Night of the Living Dead, Brain That Wouldn't Die, which is really a horrible movie, but still fun. All of these films are now in danger of being lost. And the reason for that is when you could go out and buy a DVD collection for $10, that's 100 scary movies, and probably 90% of them you had never seen, but you might enjoy them. There's some good movies. There's some really terrible ones too, but there's some good movies there. Now, those are no longer available. They're not selling nearly the amount of DVDs and Blu-rays as they used to because everyone's gone to streaming services. Well, what streaming service is going to host The Brain That Wouldn't Die or Carnival of Souls? That one they might, but for how long? There's only so much bandwidth. So if there's a new popular movie that they're going to bring onto their channel for you to watch, they got to get rid of something. So what's going to happen to all these movies that are in the public domain or more obscure? They're going to go away. You might get like Frankenstein, the Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon around Halloween. But November, December, you got your Christmas movies coming in. All of those things are going to go away. When are you going to get the opportunity to see those films? You're not anymore.
True.
They're going to be lost because no one's doing the due diligence to care for it. No, there is some hope. There is an organization called archive.org that has been cataloging a lot of this stuff. But they can't get everything. And then there's still things that may or may not have to be licensed that are going to go away. Like the original RoboCop could actually go away. It was originally made by a production company that no longer exists. The copyrights got picked up by other studios. And they might remake it or make sequels to it or whatever, but at some point that original film, where's it going to go? It's into the ether. And that's terrible. Now, not everything deserves to be saved, but why not? Why not make it available? There's somebody out there who enjoy it. It might be.
You were going to say the same thing.
There might be a niche audience over here who really wants to watch, Carnival of Souls every other week, but they're not. It's not going to be everybody who has a streaming service is going to watch that movie. Yeah. So that's my rant. That's my rant. I will continue to show public domain films as long as people are interested in watching them. And hopefully,
it's a good rant.
Yeah, hopefully we can preserve this part of our film heritage.
I would have to agree. There's too many films that I've talked about with people that no one's ever even heard of.
Yeah.
So when you try finding them, you can't get them.
And things that become socially awkward. Films that when you saw them when you were a kid, nobody had a problem with them, but nowadays they're taboo. It doesn't invalidate the film or how it was made. It just, the interest in it has changed. But
true.
Personally, I prefer the unedited Looney Tunes.
Yes. Yeah.
And I hate to see those go away.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, we didn't see it as propaganda. We didn't see it as, here, we're going to push this down your throat and maybe you're going to join us. We saw it as them still telling the truth, showing history, but doing it in a fun, different way that was the same formula as the rest of the show.
I don't want this to turn into just a series of rants. I really don't. One of the best films that the Walt Disney Corporation ever made was Song of the South. It is a brilliant movie. It came out at a time in history that it did surprisingly well. It was the actor who played Uncle Remus in the film had been nominated for an Academy Award and couldn't even get in the building to accept it. Walt Disney had to accept it on his behalf because he wasn't allowed in the building. Now, that's a long way from where we are now historically. That doesn't make the film bad. The film shows a time in history that was important for people to know about, and it doesn't show it in a bad light. It's not a derisive film. It's a beautiful film. Everyone loves Uncle Remus and his stories. Everyone in that film loves Uncle Remus and his stories. That's the point.
Yeah.
Disney will not show that film in this country anymore. Zippity Doo-Dah is a song that plays in their theme parks every day, and no one knows where it comes from anymore because they can't see that movie. Now, if you live in Japan, you can watch that movie. If you live in Australia, you can get a copy of that movie, but not in this country. It's considered too controversial. Yep. I'm not going to rant anymore. I just... Yes.
Hey, I understand. You know, some of the times ranting is good. You know, I mean, it gets the word out. But at the same time, the podcast is about cosplay, and a lot of people will do stuff like this. They will take old movies, shows that you can't watch anymore, but they love the character so much that they will embody that character.
Sure.
You know, they'll go to a con, they will go down the street, Halloween, wherever it may be, and it's still relevant, you know?
Yes.
I'll put it as this. Last year, I went as not even an obscure character. I just went as Ernest P. Worrell.
Excellent.
I had just trying to figure out, like, who are you? What are you dressed as? And I'm like, how do you guys not know Ernest at all? Like, it's not even that.
That's sad. Got milk?
Exactly. Got me out. And I sat there, walked around with a book that I have. I mean, I had even a Santa sack filled with a glowy ball. Like, I went all out, and people were like, why is this guy just walking around with a Santa bag?
Yep. Because, of course, Ernest Saves Christmas, but Rimshot as well. You had there. You had a bottle of Miak. You had the book itself with everything. I mean, you had so many references to different movies. And besides, who cannot understand blue denim vest, blue cap? Yep.
There you go.
Like, I pulled him out of the sack, and people are like, "What's that?" And I'm like,
no.
It's interesting. I've run into this personally. People who know Ernest not because of how great Jim Varney was with the character, but because they know the Kyoto brothers made the monsters for the Ernest Scared Stiff movie, which were repainted versions of the Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which they know.
Yep.
Right, they know that, but they have no idea who Ernest is.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I actually several years ago, I was at a convention. I think it was in Chicago, and there was a young boy there with his parents. And mom did not dress up. She was busy pushing a stroller with the other child in it. Dad dressed up, and this boy was dressed up in this costume. I immediately recognized it was not a science fiction character at all. He came as Huckleberry Finn to a science fiction convention. He was barefoot. He was walking around, and he had the whole look. And I'm like, "You're Huckleberry Finn." And that kid thanked me. His parents read him the book. He knew what the character was. Everybody else just looked at him like, "What's with the weird kid and the coveralls and the bare feet?" But love for the character. That's what it's about.
Exactly. I mean, every year, trying to find something new to go as or use the same thing that I've done multiple times, listening to people's reactions, seeing it, have fun with it, maybe build on it a little bit more, finding other people that have the same affinity for the same character. So now you met new people, new friends, and next time maybe you guys go together. It's a community thing,
Yes.
It's for everyone.
Indeed.
That's why they call it the cosplay community. I mean, we sit there and we try to help each other and not tear each other down based upon ability, costume, or anything. We see somebody with a duct tape made costume. It's still, they put a lot of effort into it, whether or not it's a super expensive costume or just something that they found in the thrift store. I mean, it's all a community, and we're trying to just build it up and promote happiness, you know, and world domination.
Deadpool, I'm curious, was there somebody that you saw that really inspired you to do this more? Was there a professional cosplayer, or even not a professional cosplayer, you just saw him, you said, oh, I've got to do that? Or you just, I'm Deadpool?
Not at the time. And then it was like 2 years after I had been Deadpool is when Deadpool, who's on YouTube, he's got has his channel, and he does all those kind of conventions, and I was like, oh, hey, that's cool. And it's I've just always been Deadpool since I started cosplaying because it fit my character, my mentality. I'm a very actionable, open person. I'm kid-like, and what better character to be Deadpool? I'm also 6'1" and 200 pounds. I'm pretty sized for the character.
Yeah,
yeah.
I can't quite be Spider-Man at 6'1", 200 pounds.
True.
I've seen people do it.
Right, I know.
But on that note right there about being Deadpool, let me go ahead and show this really quick. This will go ahead and give us all a little bit understanding.
Oh, I love it. Christmas with the pool.
Exactly. I mean, it's a little bit of everything all over the place, you know?
Yeah, exactly,
Another good, if people who are listening to this or watching it don't have the ability, or for some reason conventions are not something they can do, if you can at least find a local comic book shop, they have free comic book day every year, and people always show up in costumes for that. It's a great time. If you're thinking about wearing a costume yourself, that's a great place to start. Go to free comic book day at your local comic book shop. Fantastic.
Definitely. I had to go ahead and find a few of them around here because where I moved to, there's not that much of stuff like this. But I did find them, and it's still worth it.
Absolutely.
I mean, I got a handful from over the years that are still in one piece, thanks to someone preserving them. But a lot of my old comic books are gone forever now. So, and recently I found out, especially growing up in the 80s, Thundercats was a big thing. Loved it. Now they have a brand new comic book series out. So I have to get up there and find a way to get it.
Yes. Yeah. Hopefully it's good.
Yes, hopefully. You know.
So I wonder, sometimes they push these reimaginings or reboots a little too far. But Thundercats was a great property. It was a great property. I love the fact, I always have, no surprise, I have sympathy for Mumra in the original Thundercats. And I'll tell you why. Mumra was the absolute ruler of his world, and he was taking a nap. He let some other people kind of run things for a while, and then these invaders, these cats from outer space, show up and start messing with his planet. He had every right to want to kill them or boot them off his planet. That man was a victim.
He was an old man trying to take a nap.
You're just taking a nap. He'd still be taking a nap if they hadn't interrupted what was going on. He had to wake up and like, wait, what's going on? How come I'm awake? Who woke me up? What's going on? Oh, it's these kids over here. They're wrecking stuff. Poor
That's
Mumra.
a good point.
They're on his lawn at that point, right?
Yeah, get off my lawn, you stupid kids. Didn't even ask. Didn't even ask if they could pick up the ball in my yard.
Yep. Oh, gotta love it. Now, on the note, Now, on the note, of course, of cosplay, do either of you have any words of wisdom to any future cosplayers out there, let alone people who have been doing it for a while?
Want to go first, Dr. Mortose?
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll let you start.
I asked if you want to go first.
I can. Well, for people who've been doing it a long time, I want to say thank you. Please don't stop. My understanding is for most people who've been doing it a while, it's addictive. Once they start, they get ideas. If you talk to Night Mage, and I know you have, Night Mage is always, what's my next costume going to be? And the one after that, he's 3 costumes ahead in his imagination of what he's going to build and do next. And I love that. I love that because he's never bored. He's never getting tired of being the same character. And you might not. I know people who have always been Daredevil. They've just done Daredevil every convention. And to a whole group of people, they are that character. That's great. Thank you. Keep doing it. People love it. If you're new getting into it, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. If you had to spray paint an S on your chest for your costume, that's okay. We understand. You know, the more you love it, the more you're going to do with it. It's going to come. You know, you'll get it to where you like it. Deadpool, you got it to where you like it, I guess. You know, where you're comfortable with it.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've been Deadpool for like 12, 13 years now. So, I mean, it's one of those, it's just, the character fits me best, but I do other costumes on like the off days that I want to just kind of walk around. But like you said, for older characters that have been doing the same character for a while, if that's what you want to do, keep doing it. If it brings you joy, brings you happiness, brings you that feeling of, you know, that's what you want to keep doing, do it. If you start to lose it, find something else to branch off into and then see if it brings you back. Try something.
Diversify. Yeah. I know people who will show up to a horror convention and they have a whole slew of different characters they're doing there versus a comic book convention or a science fiction convention, or back in the day when we had Star Trek conventions or Star Wars weekend in Anaheim, whatever. Yeah, feel free to diversify. Do what you love. Don't feel that you have to do anything. If you don't want to show up and do something this time, if you just want to go and walk around the convention and enjoy it, go for it.
Don't burn out.
We appreciate the effort people put in.
Exactly. I mean, from, like you said, from the spray paint on the chest. If that's what you can do it. Go ahead. Own the character. Be you. Just keep on going. You can't sit there and just say, I want to do it and never do it.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. I mean, hey, it worked on Smallville.
You know? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Well, it worked on Smallville.
Oh, it did. It actually did. Yes,
sprayed the S right there on the chest, and no one said anything other than the fact that, oh my gosh, yes, he's Superman. Are we going to see the suit?
Yep.
So,
yeah. Yep.
For a short bit, we would have wanted a little bit longer, but I'm still happy with it.
I'm really surprised and mildly disappointed that he didn't just transition right into movies as Superman. It's kind of what we all wanted to see, right? We watched him grow up on Smallville, and then we wanted to see him play Superman right through. He could have totally Doctor Who'd that thing and just done it for years.
That was my hope for Superman Returns, was instantly he'll jump from Smallville into Superman Returns and then Brandon Routh, and I'm like, huh?
Oh well, we got what we got.
I'm a Superman fan.
Yeah.
So I
dresses as Deadpool.
Yep, I don't know why. It's just this character fits me better. I don't fit well as Superman. I can't be super heroic. I'm goofy. I'm funny. I run around and roll around with kids on the ground just to make them laugh. You know? And that's, if that's what you want to do with your cosplay, go ahead, do it. Don't just.
Well, don't get too creepy. Don't get too creepy rolling around the ground. Yeah. But yes, have fun. Definitely have fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, like you said, find something that suits you, something that you enjoy, And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. For me,
Yeah.
I was always afraid to do characters that were out of my body size or not how I looked, and it took a while. And after seeing Night Mage, seeing some of the others all at the con, it got me out of my shell. We're like, you know what? It doesn't matter. This
I
is what I like to do. I'm gonna do it.
I think it's a little bit like LARPing, live action role playing as well.
Yeah.
When we were kids, my friends and I, we had this. My father had built this amazing tower in our backyard, this play environment for us, and the neighborhood kids would all come around, and we'd all play superheroes. We'd play superheroes, and that was our base of operation, or where the villains were hiding out, whatever. And we never cared that my younger brother was the Hulk, a skinny little kid, much smaller than the rest of us. He was the Hulk, and I was Captain America, and my friend Brian, who was the Falcon, and we didn't look anything like those characters. Different skin color, different body builds. We didn't care. We just had fun being those characters for a little while that day, running around, a trash can lid for a shield. Good times. Good times. And I think cosplaying and LARPing, they're extensions of that. People tell you when you're a child, you need to grow up and not do those things anymore. Those people are wrong. They are wrong. Do not listen to them. Remember what it was like to be a child. That is so important for your future existence. If more people played like they did when they were a kid, the world would be a much happier place. A much happier
So
place.
true. So true.
Put on your capes, kids, and wear them straight through until you're a grandpa or grandma. Put on those capes.
And that was one of the things that I forgot about. I ended up becoming too adult, I guess you could say. I mean, still funny, still having fun, but it was that mindset that was lost of the imagination that, no, it doesn't matter. I'm a bigger guy. I can still cosplay as a smaller guy. And it kept me from doing it. But that's what I went ahead and did. And it wasn't 2020, it was 2021. And my first cosplay was Castiel.
Excellent. Excellent.
Simple costume. I went to a store, found the coat, found the clothes, and after that, personified myself, made a angel blade, and went to the con. Had absolute fun.
It's the way to do it. Yeah, Night Mage, one of the first costumes I saw him wear when I met him was He-Man.
Yep, same here.
The wig and the whole thing, and I was like, wow, yeah, rock it out. Rock it out. Another friend of mine, my friend Brian, was very obsessed for many, many years with Hellboy. And he is this thin, and he's this tall, and not the typical build you would expect to see Hellboy. But again, he would do that, and you'd look at him like, yeah, it's Hellboy. You did a great job. You nailed it. You got the personality down. He also did more to his body size and his general look. He did the Crow, which was an excellent one as well. But yeah, no, it takes a little getting used to sometimes. Sometimes it's not intuitive who you're looking at when somebody of a much different physique is playing a particular character. But as long as the person's having fun doing it, don't troll them. Let them have fun. You have fun. You can have fun by letting them have fun.
Exactly. Now, of course, we are getting close to the end of the show here. And we've got our words of wisdom. We had a great show so far. Anything else that either of you would like to mention? Either maybe Dr. Mortose, you have some upcoming events, or Mid-Michigan Deadpool, anything that you're going to be volunteering or doing as well?
Deadpool, go ahead first this time.
Sorry, I got a dog in the background. As far as events upcoming, it's just going to be, I'll be at Grand Rapids Comic Con, probably Capital City Comic Con here coming up. Not the spring fling for Grand Rapids Comic Con, but I'm just going to be walking around as General Mid-Michigan Deadpool. So, and charity work, I don't really have any that's coming up lately. I've been kind of busy with work. And that's where you said, don't let it, have fun with it. And I've been letting the adult in me take over more than the kid in me. So I've got to change that.
I'll send some red shirts over to slap you around and get you back in shape. No, of course, as I always say, obey me and read more books. Be good minions. I'm going to be making some appearances here and there this year. You can follow me on Facebook or YouTube. I have my Dose of Dr. Mortose. That's weekly. You can certainly watch that, and that will keep you informed of where I'm going to be and when things are happening. Some point this year, there is a plan to get together with several of the cosplayers you have both met, and we're going to create some new monsters in my laboratory with those individuals. It should be very entertaining.
Love it. Right. Well, thank you both for coming onto the show. It was great having you. And hope to go ahead and have you on here sometime in the future as well, or vice versa, maybe come onto your show.
Oh, excellent! I will definitely have you both on my show again. If not sooner, probably Grand Rapids Comic Con. We'll make it happen.
That works too.
See you.
All right.
Excellent.
So we will see you guys later, and thank you everyone for joining the show. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, both on Facebook, on YouTube, and currently, now, we can even go ahead and see us on Spreaker or even Spotify. So by all means, come in, like, subscribe, follow, leave comments, and let us know. Until next time. Bye, everyone.
Are you interested in cosplay, currently a cosplayer, or have an experience you wish to share? Want to be on the show? Simply text, email, or send a message on our Facebook page. I can't wait to hear from you.